So anyway, we will go ahead and get started. So we had, last time we introduced ourselves, and we have some new faces, so we'll just briefly do that again. I'm Sandra Leek. I work as Director of Health Services with the district, and I'm the SHAC advisor. I had two children come up through CFBISD schools, and they went to Las Colinas Elementary, Bush Middle School, Ranchview High School, and Turner High School, but they're both grown and out on their own now, off the payroll. So, yay. So, Brian, would you like to go next?
Brian Dickerson with the Carrollton Fire Department.
Brad Kennedy, parent here in the district, so we have a couple of girls at Country Place. So, love the school for the district.
Adrini Chen, I have two girls at Kent and Layla.
Liliana Garza, I'm a parent. My son is a first grader at Stark.
I'm Kim Brady, president of the CFB Council PTA. I also have two children. We went to Country Place, now at Layla and Smith.
Alex Dale, Sam Paxford, Star Ford, Chevrolet. My daughter, K through 12 in the area, PTA, and she's now 23. Like this year.
Gwen Perkins. I am a former parent of CIFB students. They went through the pre-K center, Central, Perry, Turner route, 24, 25, and 30 years old. So they are way off the payroll, but member of Mary Immaculate Parish, and so we're happy to be here.
Thank you. Craig?
I'm Craig Hempel. I'm the nutrition coordinator for the district.
Jeff Baggett. I am the director of sports medicine and outreach and some other garbage for children's health over on the Plano campus. And my wife and I and our son live here locally, and so we're interested. My young son is turning 4 very soon, so we're just getting involved a little early.
Good deal.
Betsy McKinney, I'm the school-age parent program here in the district.
Sylvia Masquera, I work as an interpreter for the district and parent education committee, and I have two boys that went through CFB schools. It's your turn.
Okay, it's my turn.
Perfect timing.
Right.
I'm Kathy Riojas. I am a current CFB parent. I've got a third grader at one of the elementary schools. We have a daughter who also graduated. I'm a product of CFB. We've been here for a very long time. And I am currently a mental health professional in Carrollton. So,
Well, welcome everyone. So, Dee, do you want to?
Oh, I'm Dee Canada. I am the administrative assistant to one of the associate superintendents to Brian Murray.
Yeah, like Brian.
Looks like we have some more coming. So our first order of business is approval of our minutes from the last meeting. That was on September 22nd, and you should have seen copies of those when you entered and signed in. So do we have a motion to accept the meetings for the minutes?
I move to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
I second.
Thank you. All right. And then we also, our next order of business is approval of the SHAC bylaws. So those were passed out at the last meeting, and I did not receive any questions or concerns about those. So could we have a motion from the floor to approve our bylaws?
I move to approve the bylaws.
Thank you.
Who seconded?
Gwen.
Gwen Perkins.
And then our other business that we discussed last meeting, is the, okay. Well, it doesn't look like that in the actual presentation, so Craig, I hope yours does not appear like that. So we need to select a chair, a co-chair, and a secretary. The chair or co-chair must be a parent, member, and at least one of the remaining 2 officer positions shall be held by a parent or community member and not employed by the district. The responsibilities of the chair shall be to preside at all the meetings of the SHAC, appoint committees as necessary, serve as a member of all the committees, work with the membership, and the co-chair to compile agendas for SHAC meetings and perform other responsibilities as prescribed by the board or the SHAC. The other officers prescribed by the bylaws is a co-chair, which must preside at SHAC meetings in absence of the chair, serve as members of the committees, and perform other responsibilities as prescribed. And then the secretary will preside at meetings with if the chair or co-chair are absent, which hopefully that will not be the case. Work with the chairs and the advisor to prepare meeting notices, minutes, and help arrange location of SHAC meetings and perform other responsibilities as prescribed. So do we have any nominations from the floor for chair?
So I just have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
The school board appointed 11 people to the SHAC at the last meeting. I believe these 3 positions have to be within those people that were appointed. Is that correct?
Yes. So the membership that were approved by the school board were Kathy Riojas, Dr. Drini Chen, Richard Kennedy, April Hooper Christensen, Maria Retitz, or R-E-T-I-Z, Brian Dickerson, Jeff Baguette, Kim Brady, Catherine Carlin, Ileana Garza, and Lacey Tomanek. Forgive me if I mispronounced any names. So those are the approved or recommended members from the school board. So amongst those names, do I have any willing to serve?
I'll chair or co-chair. I'll co-chair as well.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Chair and a co-chair. Awesome.
That was painless.
That was painless. Yes. And then do we have anyone that would like to serve as the secretary in that role?
And that one does not have to be a parent.
That one does not have to be a parent. It may be a community member. So the responsibilities of the secretary would be to preside at the meetings if the chair and co-chair were absent, work to prepare meeting notices, minutes, and help arrange meetings. Okay, Kathy? Okay, thank you. All right. So we have selected a chair, co-chair, and secretary. So do you have those names, Dee?
So, Drini Chen for chair, Ileana for co, and Kathy Riojas for secretary.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, that wraps up our business. And so we have the privilege of having Craig Hempel here with us from Nutrition Services, and he's going to tell us about the work that his department is doing.
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about our food service department and some of the things that we're doing this year. Our main goal of the department is to offer and provide nutritious meals to all students and to promote a healthy learning environment for all. A little bit about the department itself. We run on about $15 million budget. We provide meals to all of our campuses. We're currently a little bit short on labor. I'm sure you've seen it in the news and have heard about labor shortages and supply chain issues, but we are filling those positions, on a weekly basis, always looking for new hires and interviewing new employees. About half of our employees have a manager certification for food safety, and all of our employees have a certification for food handlers. Currently, we are running under SSO, which is a seamless summer option, which when COVID started, basically USDA, TDA granted this waiver to all school districts to run this operation so that all breakfast and lunches were free to all students. We're back into running more of a normalized operation with the cafeteria service, students coming through the cafeteria lines, similar to what we were doing pre-COVID with more of a normalized cafeteria service, providing more options to, yes sir.
Is that the plan throughout the remainder of this year is to maintain that status?
That's our goal.
Okay.
Okay.
That would be our goal, to normalize as best as possible, and keeping it as safe as possible as well.
Would that be more self-sufficient to the district then, as I'm understanding this is a lump sum of money that was given or allotted for the district, for the SSO then, from the state, is that correct?
Meals are reimbursed on a per meal basis.
Okay, great. And so then that will continue on then throughout or will the district sort of take over the financial aspect of that as you go forward, as you move forward? Two different buckets of money. Are you planning on sustaining that from the SSO, from the district level, or from the state level? Are they two different entities, or is it the same money?
It's all through the federal funds.
Okay.
And we're reimbursed on a per meal basis, so it's all based on our participation of our meal service.
Okay. And there's no timeline for that. It just continues on.
No, there's no grant of money.
Okay.
It's
that was my question. Yeah.
We're reimbursed how we would normally be reimbursed. The difference is that everyone is free.
Yeah.
Everyone receives free meals, and we're reimbursed on a free reimbursement rate.
And there's traditionally criteria for that, but they've waived that over the period. Okay.
Yes, I'll get more into that on a later slide. That's fine. I'll get into that later later slides, because there is a chance we'll go back to a different style of program.
Okay.
Yes. So right now we're doing offer versus serve, which is our normal cafeteria style service, where students come through the line, they choose their entree, they choose their fruits and vegetables, and a choice of milk as well. And we're also providing and offering meals for any of the students that choose to do the online learning right now. At 11 of our elementaries, they have that option to come pick up meals twice a week.
Is that pretty successful? Do you have a pretty large amount of kids that come through, or?
From my understanding, there's not that many, but there are a few at each of those campuses on a weekly basis. Currently, we're dealing with some labor shortages, as you saw in the slides before, on the employment, looking to hire employees, always looking for ways to gain new employment and retain employment. And then supply chain issues. Like I said before, it's all of you turn on the news, you hear supply chain issues in the food industry. It's something that we're having to deal with, and we're coming up with ways to find solutions to make sure we are bringing in products for our kids for food. But that may lead to other operational changes. You may see that the menus may not always match to what's posted online. We do our best for what's coming in to serve those menus, but there are on occasion there might be changes or different products that are sent in. We're not always serving on the trays that we normally would serve on, because there's paper supply shortages in the industry. And so, our employees, our managers are doing an incredible job of taking on these challenges on a day-to-day basis to make sure that we're feeding our kids the best that we can with the tools that they are being provided with. And our goal, I work directly with our food vendors to make sure we're bringing in our products and that we're getting a sufficient amount as well. So you may see changes in menus, but our staff, they're trained to post the daily menu, communicate that with the front office, and kind of do the best we can to communicate with the campus, because each campus might be doing something a little bit different each day, but to communicate that out and inform the students and staff each day. And then, despite some of these challenges, we are serving free meals, so all breakfasts and lunches are free to all students. And we're seeing increases in trends from month to month and then from year to year. I think today we were looking at numbers from September of 2020 to September of this past month. We're serving about 10,000 more meals a day than we were a year ago. We're serving way more meals than we were last year, and we're seeing that trending up. Going back to a regular cafeteria style service for all campuses really helps with that participation with feeding more of our students. Yes?
I have a question. So when you're comparing numbers, I go back to what September of 2020 looked like, and if I remember correctly, my second grader at the time was like in my kitchen doing work remotely, because that's how all of this started last year. Can you give me an idea of, if we're comparing like apples to apples, what like 2019, September of 2019 to September of 2021? Does that
So
make sense?
yes, so I don't have that data. I
Yeah.
don't really look at the
Because
meals.
it sounds like, oh my gosh, this huge number, but last year was
Right.
so just not a typical year.
I don't look at the meal counts as much. That would be more of our director. I'm more involved with the food itself and bringing product in.
Okay.
My understanding is that we're not where we were in 1920 pre-COVID.
Yeah.
We're still working through bringing that participation back up.
Okay.
This week is National School Lunch Week. It's just a big promotion that USDA promotes every year. There's National School Lunch Week in the fall, National School Breakfast Week in the spring, and they try to have some sort of promotion or handouts for the students. All the elementaries handed out activity sheets, coloring sheets that they could do. It's just for fun activities, and they may have some little prizes they may give out on a raffle basis to at each campus. And then I have a video. Hopefully it plays.
Hello, CFBISD. I'm John Chapman, Superintendent of Schools, and this week we're celebrating National School Lunch Week. A healthy lunch is so important to the success of our students in and outside of our school. We're at Carrollton Elementary School. Let's go inside and take a look as we celebrate our cafeteria staff, but also look behind the scenes to see what's going on in our cafeteria. Hello, hello. Hi, Kristen.
Hi there.
Tell us a little bit about some of the nutritional standards we must follow each day.
Here at CFB and across all child nutrition departments, our meals provide fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and milk. And they also meet federal nutrition guidelines for calories, sodium, and fat. And research actually shows that meals received in schools are actually some of the healthiest meals that students will receive in a day.
So how many meals do we serve each year?
This year, in 21-22, we're on track to serve over 700,000 breakfasts, over 2.5 million lunch meals, and 155,000 snacks. And we hope all students will take advantage since all meals are free to students this year.
Great. Hi, Delia.
Hi, Dr. Chapman.
Tell us a little bit about the school cafeteria and what your staff does.
Let me tell you, we all work very hard to provide kids with healthy choices. And this week, we are going wild about our National School Week. We have many activities, such as coloring pages, crossword, and tell me about your wild story during lunch. We also gonna have many prizes. Come and see us. I hope to see everybody here.
Well, how are you today?
Good.
Tell me what you're eating.
Pizza.
You like it? And how are you? What are you eating today? Is it good? All right. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Chapman and CFB. I just want to take this time to celebrate our child nutrition staff, and I hope that each and every one of you have a wonderful week. Thank you so much to our staff for feeding healthy meals to our students each and every day. Come join me as we grab a piece of pizza.
Well, it was a nice, fun video that Dr. Chapman did for the National School Lunch Week.
Craig, can you give us an idea when you talk about labor shortages, and I recognize that this is like a situation all school districts, and even those outside of school districts are kind of grappling with post-COVID, but can you give us a percentage, how much of that workforce that we typically depend on is just not working, is not year right now? 5%, 10%?
Can you say that again?
Yeah, in terms of the labor shortage,
Yes.
like what percentage?
What percentage?
In terms of spots that still need to be filled in our school district?
In student
What's the
nutrition.
labor shortage?
Oh, it was about 60, I think 4 I saw on there. So what is that?
Still needed?
About
That's
25%, 30%?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. To be fully staffed.
Yes.
You know, normally a department of that size,
Yeah.
we're typically wouldn't be 100%
Yes. Yes.
full
Sure.
positions.
That makes sense.
Of our positions filled. Where'd the presentation go?
So while he's doing that, I'm going to say a couple weeks ago was
Okay.
Appreciation Week for custodians and school staff. Many also did for the cafeteria workers. And so, do any of y'all know if any of your schools did anything for your guys?
I know Stark did something for custodian.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about the cafeteria workers too? Do you know? Okay. I did for Blair, for both the custodians and cafeteria workers, just to, but I was wondering how many of the other schools also got into this, But I think that'd be a kind of a fun thing for us to possibly, get the word out and such, and just remind, because they are definitely worked hard.
And they're doing an excellent job, especially with what's being dealt with to them. But what I would say about our employees in general, and I've worked in other school districts as well, and from the employees that have been working in school nutrition, they're very passionate. They usually have students or grandchildren in the school district, so to them it's their family, and the ones that we have retained year over year, they're really passionate and lead those kitchens very well. And they're there because they're trying to feed their kids, their grandkids, and so they're very good at what they do. And then we just hired a new personnel coordinator in our office, and she came from another local district, and she was bragging in a meeting today about how the retention and how our employment situation's going versus the district she came from, which is very similar in size, that we're doing much better than where she was at, just with retaining employees and bringing in new employees to work with us. So we're coming up with solutions. We're finding new creative ways to feed our kids. At this time, the SSO program that we're on for free meals, breakfast and lunch, it's through the end of this school year. There's no guarantee after that. We're being told we would go back to our normal eligibility-based program where there's income applications for eligibilities for free and reduced students. We're currently taking applications, and one part of the reason for that is when you fill out those applications, even though we're all free this school year, it applies for the first 30 days of next school year. So if you qualify now, it'll go through the first 30 days of next school year. That helps the district with eco-disinformation, and as well as getting our program where it could be for next school year if we have to go back to that. And everything we're being told now is everything should go back to normal next school year. I think it's great what we're doing, what USDA was able to do and give waivers out to the school districts to do all free meals for the last 2 years. I can only hope that it continues, but there's no guarantee on that. Yes.
Given the supply chain shortage and those kind of things, and you had mentioned being creative in terms of being able to have the equipment and the amount of food that you need to serve. Something that I've noticed as a parent when I have volunteered in the lunchroom is the huge amounts of food that are thrown away every meal. The kids get 15, 20 minutes. It's such a short time to actually eat. and they have, their portions or amount is too much, they can't finish it, and it all goes into the trash. Huge amounts of food are thrown into the trash every day. And so, given, the shortage of, of food and paper supplies, whatever it is that, those kind of things, are you incorporating that into your creativity, brainstorming like ways to use what you have, reuse, or you know what I'm saying? Like, has that ever been a thought, like coupling that with some kind of community service?
Well,
it just seems like a very wasteful to me.
Yeah, we have to follow the USDA guidelines with offering so many like entrees and fruits and vegetables and milk, and there's certain components of the meal, like fruits and vegetables, that are required to be taken in order for be a reimbursable meal for us to get funding for. And but we do, since we are going back to the more normalized service, which is offer versus serve, students have the choice to choose their entree and choose their fruit or vegetable. So that going back to some of that type of program should cut back on food waste and training our staff to try not to overproduce food and try to predict how many students are going to be taking what items. So the students do have the choice to take what they want. We try to promote them to take more fruits and vegetables, but it comes down to the student's decision to meet those requirements with a reimbursable meal on that. Sorry if that wasn't the best answer you're looking for.
No, you already mentioned a couple of things that y'all have thought about for regarding that.
Okay. Yes.
With the offer versus serve, I have a son who is a vegetarian because he cannot digest meat. And he's also special needs. He's high functioning, but still special needs. And we've had to pack his lunch his whole school career because of the offer versus serve. Because we were told that for him to walk through the lunch line, it would still be of his choosing. And we often do fake meat, so then when he's going through, it looks similar, or a kid says something, so then he feels pressure to just grab something. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's a problem for us, that my son, as much as he wants so badly to have a school lunch like his friends, we pack his lunch every day because of the offer versus serve, and me not knowing what nutrition my son is going to get. Does that make sense?
Yes. So at all campuses, we do offer a vegetarian option every day. If you go onto the school's website, to the nutrition department, there's the online menus. You click on nutrition department, nutrition services, our menus. They'll bring you to Nutri Cafe, which will show you the nutrition facts and the allergens on the menus, on the planned menus. And then if there's any sort of severe allergy or disability that affects their what they can consume, then we have like diet modification forms that a physician can sign off on.
Okay.
And then usually that will go to a nurse, and then it'll come to me personally. And depending on how those forms are filled out, we can work out some sort of plan.
Because I was told by administration, no, he's just going to go through and he'll have to pick. And I'm like, my kid's not capable. Like, he'll say no meat, but we have fake hot dogs. So then if it looks like meat, yeah. So.
And each of those are on a case by case.
Okay. That gives me hope, and that's exciting.
Yes,
so
yes.
So that being said, you may want to send a little blurb out to administration in the schools so they know to promote that versus, no, he's going to have to choose, and that's scary to me as a parent, because it's a medical
It's
thing.
available online, and we work closely with the nurses.
Oh, that I knew, but
okay.
That's different than
an administrator.
Than an administrator in an ARD saying, So, yeah.
And I'll let our director know as
Thank
well.
you, thank you.
But yeah, those come to me directly. I work with the nurses and the
And it is,
cafeteria
he's had us
managers.
for lunch over 4 times.
Yeah, he should have an assistant with him. Sorry.
So if it's a qualifying situation, then it's something that we accommodate for.
Yeah.
And it all depends on what it is and what the physician signs off on.
Right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you know the answer to this, but when students fill out the application for the free lunch,
Yes.
it also gives high school kids, if they qualify for this, they get to take the SAT, ACT, those tests for free. So if you're not processing these applications, do you know if that's still available for the
other program?
the high school kids to get the free testing?
And not only that, they
That's
also
safe
get
money.
discounts with after-school programs like ATV and
Oh.
such.
That's
Yeah,
another-
So that's another incentive.
It's another reason why we're trying to promote it. Because in a normal school year where we're not all free meals, this is how we would qualify for free and reduced meals. All meals are free, but as a district and as a department, we're trying to promote it, one, because it doesn't necessarily affect us as much this school year for our department, but it does affect so many other departments. But from a student nutrition and from the regulation side, we can't really promote that from our department. I know we're working with the district to kind of encourage parents to fill those forms out for other benefits.
Oh, okay.
Because you can get other benefits. The district can get other benefits if more of those are filled out, and the students can as well. There's other benefits for the families as well. Along with going into next school year for the first 30 days of the school year for free meals.
Okay.
So is that why they're encouraging everybody, even if you're not going to qualify, to fill those out?
Yes.
Okay. That makes
I
more
wish
sense.
there was like a little blurb in there that said.
So I know the CCMR department, for example, because they're the ones in charge of SAT testing, ACT, and all kids who qualify for free and reduced have less fees, or the fees are waived.
Yeah, they're
So
fine.
they encourage parents to apply to these so the students can get those additional benefits. So I know other departments are working on it as well.
I've mentioned it to a few parents and they weren't aware of that, and we don't qualify, but they're struggling and they're so overwhelmed with everything. I think that maybe they're not catching it or seeing it because it's kind of and it's instead of a way of promoting the program, it may need to kind of be done as a bigger promotion that way versus, especially this year when, what does that matter? Everybody is getting it free anyway. So that might be a way to market
That's
it.
what the students that I've talked to, they're like, well, it's free for everybody, so we didn't apply.
Right, and why take the time? That's
Yeah.
a lot
My
of
understanding
time.
is that communications should be going out from the campus level.
That's good to
It has been.
Oh, and it has.
Yeah.
But there's also the lunch shame that goes with it, and they're able to avoid that this year. That they're not having to fill out paperwork and be that one that's getting help, quote unquote, which
Right.
that's not true,
Right.
but still that's how some people feel. And lunch shame is a thing. It is. Yeah. So that may be a way to help market those being filled out.
I do know they're trying to promote all families to fill it out because it's used for so many other reasons, but it's coming from the campus level. Our department has to push it for meal purposes, but it does affect the school district in many other ways, yes.
So maybe that's part of the problem is that it's requiring campus push for those different directions, because that can be problematic if the administrator is not seeing the value of that information. Do you know what I mean? Because it may be new to them, as in like the true need behind that.
Right. I understand completely
Yeah.
on that. I came from a smaller school district where we qualified for a free program even before COVID, and we had to train and retrain and educate administrators and parents and all the above to kind of get that back to the district, that information. If you have any further questions, you feel free to reach out to myself or Kristen Hess is our director for any other information, for menus, for special diet modifications. I'm always available by phone or email.
Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. And so next we have Ms. Kimberly Graham that's going to share a little bit about employee wellness with us.
I travel through the maze.
Yes.
Thank you, Sandra. Well, I apologize for not having slides. One of the things about our department, we're very small and we have to be very nimble, and we're kind of crisis oriented right now. When an employee has a problem, we stop what we're doing right then and we work with them. And so y'all got subordinated tonight. But we do offer a wide range of benefits for employees to choose from. Can y'all hear me in the back? Oh, good. So that they can choose what's best for them and their families. We have 5 different health plans, 3 different dental plans, an assortment of disability, hospital indemnity, vision, cancer, accident, life, flex, health, and health savings accounts. But with all those options, it requires a great deal of support, individualized support, because not only are we providing those benefits to our employees, we're helping them coordinate with their spouses and their parents, and sometimes grandparents and grandchildren. So it can be quite overwhelming at times. But one of the greatest things that happened this year, and our employees are so grateful to the community and the school board for applying an additional $72 a month towards our health insurance. And that really made health insurance affordable for employees who in the past could not afford health insurance, who went uninsured. So it brought down the cost of the lowest cost plan from $119 a month to $67 a month. And those employees are getting health care for the first time sometimes. We're running immunization clinics last month and this month. We have about another week and a half that we've done. We have 46 immunization clinics scheduled, with a wide range of immunizations, and we've had the support of all of the campuses and departments. We, for the most part, every year the school nurses and secretaries have handled the immunization clinics, which can be very difficult for them because we have them right at the start of school and at the end of the day, the 2 busiest times of the days for nurses and secretaries besides medication time. And then our language department even helped and stepped in and provided employees to assist those nurses and secretaries who requested help. So some of the campuses still wanted to do it themselves, but we're on the phone supporting them because sometimes employees show up without insurance cards, and so we're emailing insurance cards quickly for the nurses. And then we also have a new employee assistance plan this year that for the first time also includes all employees, not just full-time employees. So our substitutes, our temporaries, our avid tutors, and after the Bell employees now have access to that employee assistance plan. And we're continuing to educate them and make them aware that that's available to them. And it was no extra cost to the district either. It was a product our broker Financial Benefit Services brought to us and made us aware that that would cover all employees instead of just the full-time employees. And then we also have a free telehealth for non-exempt employees and their families. And it's provided by MD Live. And so an employee maybe is able to afford health insurance for themselves, but not their families. So this gives those family members access to the dignity of health care, and they can call 24/7 and get a consult at no cost. And the great thing about that is it helps create a workforce and a work environment that's healthier, and it reduces absences, and that affects our students who don't have to have as many substitutes. So I think it's one of the greatest things that's happened this year for our employees as far as wellness. And then we continue to look at other options too. Anything that would bring value and improved benefits to our employees. We have meetings next week. We're looking at next year. And then some of the shots we did at the immunization clinics this year were the flu shots, the pneumonia, shingrix, hepatitis, and we were even able to offer the Moderna vaccines. And then beginning later this month, we're starting an outreach for the American Heart Association Go Red program. So it's in addition to the jump rope for heart that most of you are already familiar with, but this will be geared towards employees. And Dr. Chapman has said that we can all wear red shirts on February 4th. And then our finance department has even started an outreach to campuses. They've assigned every member of the finance department to be a campus liaison. And in the benefits and risk management department, we're actually a part of the finance department, not human resources. But we work very closely with them. So we all have our own campuses, and we visit and talk with them. And if someone from finance is in the payroll department and they're at a school and they say, well, we have a problem with our benefits, they'll bring it back to us. Or if I'm at a campus and they have a problem with accounts payable, I'll bring it back to them. So it's going to increase communication and expedite solutions. And we're really encouraged about starting that. And we have a lot of options for mental wellness. As I mentioned, that we have our EAP, our Employee Assistance Plan. And now this year we've got a special employee assistance specialist whose whole purpose is to provide counseling to our employees. So we get a lot of phone calls and emails where someone needs help right away, and sometimes they can't get an appointment with a doctor, or there's a delay between a call and the time they can set up a virtual appointment. So it's really nice to have that option too. And then we also have some financial wellness opportunities for people. We're offering the Roth option now on 403Bs and 457s. The district does not match any amounts of additional funds for retirement, so that's 100% funded by the employees. But now they can do it with the Roth option, where they can set aside funds. They are taxed now and not when they draw it out later. And that works better for some employees, and it gives them the option. And it's open all year for enrollment and changes. And then our provider there, our third-party administrator, has a dedicated staff that give our employees unbiased advice. They don't get commissions or make sales. So we're happy that we can offer that. And then we also sponsor workplace safety, because we do the workers' compensation, and we have safety teams that analyze all of the workplace injuries for the purpose of finding out, why is something happening, how can we prevent it, and how can we educate other employees so that they don't encounter the same type of injury.
Is that an internal resource, or do you outsource that?
We're self-funded, we're self-insured, and then we have excess insurance for stop loss. What that means is when a claim reaches a certain amount, like the stop loss starts picking it up. And we've been very lucky. That's been very rare for us. Most of our claims are, we have high occurrence but low expense. A lot of trips and falls and scratches and bumps and bites, thank goodness. And We have a third-party administrator called Athens Administrators, and they actually process and pay any claims that go to medical. And then in our department, we turn in all the claims to Athens, and then we arrange for employees to, we authorize the treatment at local clinics and kind of
Who
oversee.
evaluates the data post, so at the end of the year?
We have quarterly meetings with Athens administrators and our workers' comp legal team. That's also a part of Athens, and then our stop loss insurer. We all meet together quarterly. We used to do it in person, and now it's in Zoom.
Yeah.
And we go over like maybe the top 10 to 15 claims that we have and see what the status is and how they can be moved along. If sometimes we'll add a nurse case manager if the employee doesn't seem to be responding to treatment, that sort of thing.
Thank you.
That every month, and with COVID, we have not had a lot of workplace injuries. That has been a big improvement. when we have a staff development day, it's like very few injuries, like maybe one or two. But we definitely do when school got back in session. And one reason we place so much importance on it too is not only for our staff, because if you have a workplace hazard, it's a hazard to our employee and to our students and to visitors, and we want to do away with that. Any questions? Yes.
So it's great to hear that y'all have counseling opportunities and things like that. However, sometimes people may not feel comfortable asking for counseling, unfortunately. So when y'all have staff development, sessions and stuff, do you do like, presentations about stress, management and healthy lifestyle, choices and resiliency, those kind of, you know what I mean, like bring it to them if they don't necessarily go and seek it. Do you offer that?
I haven't done that as part of the benefit department, and I regret that. We're a little understaffed and overwhelmed right now, and I think that's a goal that we have for the future. I have noticed, though, when we're out on the campuses, we will be approached individually. And so that's why I'm really glad we're out on the campuses more. We can get back into that. Because one thing about educators that I've seen over the last 20, 30 years, they're the kind of people that put themselves last, They run all day from meeting to class to student, and they put their needs absolutely last. And we get the call when they're at the end of the rope. But if they see us and we're there in front of them, they might take 30 seconds for themselves and say, hey, I've been wondering about this for the last couple of years. Can you help me? And we step in and do that. But yes, I do want to look for more outreach for just wellness. The problem is that they won't come, they won't schedule it. But if one person does, that means it's worth it. And I schedule lots of things where maybe 2 people show up, but I know that's 2 people that got the message. But thank you, and I'll have my card out over there on that back table if anyone wants to stop by and share any resources with me.
Yeah, I wanted to actually follow that up. So before I was a licensed professional counselor, I actually was a school counselor in this district, in another district, and a lot of the times the school counselor on the campus level will share information to staff, healthy coping skills, compassion fatigue, burnout. So a lot of those conversations are probably happening at a campus level. In my experience, even as a teacher, your school counselor was almost like your frontline person who you felt comfortable going to. Now, your school counselor can't be your counselor, but they're a confidant that a lot of teachers, I think, feel comfortable maybe starting some of those conversations with. So I feel like they are happening, and they probably are happening more now than they have ever been because of such a big emphasis on mental health So that's just a different perspective that I feel like I could.
I agree. I've seen that also. And then I have coworkers of employees reach out to me on behalf of other employees, and they respect their privacy, but they say, I have a friend or I have a coworker, and we reach them that way.
I share an office with the new person that's the employee assistant, and she is booked all the time already.
Tina Smith.
She's brand new, and before too long she's gonna need some help. But she talks about she's gonna start putting out a newsletter that has tips and things like that. But she'll go do a presentation at like a school staff meeting, and once they find out about her, then she just gets all these calls. She did do a big presentation the day we had staff development last Friday for transportation, and it went great. She brought in therapy dogs and all kinds of stuff.
Cool.
So she's really gung-ho, and she's really getting stuff going. So,
And Tina and I went to grad school together, so she is amazing.
Yeah.
I think she's going to be a tremendous resource for the district. And we've talked and coordinated information between us, so.
She's a go-getter.
She is. Okay. No other questions? Okay, and we do have a dedicated email line called Benefit Help. So even if employees can't remember our names, they can email Benefit Help.
All right, thank you, Kimberly. So that'll wrap us up for this evening. Our next meeting is not until February, I believe, because we're going to wait till after the holidays and have our spring meetings. And our next meeting, the topic will be mental health. So we'll be delving into that a little more deeply during that meeting. So, yes, sir.
Can I ask one just operational question? So I've just took some notes down today. And I've heard a lot of discussion about campus-specific efforts. Is that intentional, that is not being communicated universally across all campuses?
It is, though. So the district sends out their emails, and the principals just help push them along. So the district sent out a huge email about student nutrition, the application for student nutrition, and all the benefits that come with it.
Right.
And then the principals take it and put it in their newsletters or put it in their videos.
So that communication
to the parents
is disseminated to each campus, and it's the campus's job to individualize it then at that point.
Well, the district does send it out.
So when the district sends it out, you mean it goes to everybody?
Goes to everybody. So maybe in your junk box, it might be in your whatever. But it's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, like all those social medias too.
The campus efforts then is redundant to what's already out.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Most of the time, yes. But they have good relationships with their particular families.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
So
Okay,
sometimes that's more effective to come out from the campus level.
Okay,
so
perfect.
I think that's the thinking behind it.
It's a good reminder. It's a good reminder because you get so much information.
No
nowadays.
question. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question, and I kind of brought this up last time individually to you guys, and I also sent you an email about it. Lunch is used punitively, since we're on student nutrition and their lunches. It was my understanding that they're not supposed to be, it's not just recess, but it's also that I was having issues with and concerned about, but also lunches. Do any of you guys know if it's happening on any of your kids' campuses? I know it's happening at Blair, and I have voiced that.
Yes, and I know we discussed that with Dr. Franklin,
and y'all are investigating a variety of things, but I'm wondering if it's happening on other campuses as well. Like what? If my son didn't get his reading done over the weekend, then he has to have a silent lunch, which is so horrible in comparison with the social emotional learning. It doesn't go hand in hand here. They've had to be quiet and have controlled conversation throughout the day, and then at lunch they're having to sit and have silent lunch. That is, and that's very problematic to me, and this is happening at Blair, and then they're also using recess punitively. But like I said, they're investigating it. I'm just wondering if it's happening on other campuses.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Well, I'm not surprised. Okay.
Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
love Blair as a school, don't get me wrong. I live by Stark. Because of my son's needs, we feel like the fine arts programs are perfect for him. So please know that we do choose to go there. We just, there's some issues that need correcting.
Well, I'm glad you're
There's always
with us.
room for improvement.
Yes, definitely. So, all right, well, if we don't have any further questions, we'll call it a night. Thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to seeing you at our next meeting.